Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Que-stead-Que. What you gonna do? I don't know, but something's gonna grow. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Que-stead-Que. This is a special episode today, and I'm gonna try to keep it as short as possible. I did write notes, so to keep me on track, because y'all know I venture off. But anyway, the title of this video is called Prepping While Poor 101. I had mentioned on Facebook a few weeks ago that I was going to do a video on prepping. And the reason is that time is of the essence, you guys. We're not even going to go into the political nightmare that we're in or anything, but just basically these recalls, we have shortages. The crop was ruined this year in California, or some parts of California, and then other areas that were hit by the recent hurricanes, and I believe floods hit California. Then you have all these recalls going on. I think farmers, some of them are cutting corners, the big business farmers, not the small ones, but a lot of the big business people are cutting corners. They traced that McDonald's E. coli outbreak that has actually killed one and have others fighting for their lives sick. They traced that to a farm in, I believe it was California. It was either California or Texas. Don't quote me on that because I don't like to get information wrong. But I did see that they traced it to the onions at that farm. So I was thinking it would have been the beef or the meat, but it was actually the onions. That's what they pinpointed it to be. So you have to be careful, you know, with all that going on. And I want to, I'm going to shout out a few of my channels that I belong to that could help you too. One of my friends, Miss Gail, she has the Georgia Peach Nut channel. Just pull up Georgia Peach Nut Gardening and you will be able to find her. Now, she has mainly a deck garden at her home, and she has trees and other vegetables planted in containers only. She doesn't plant in the ground, from what I've seen, out in her yard, just in her backyard, in a small area. Although she has a lot of property, but because she's older like myself, she does just a section that she's designated. And so she did a video on yesterday to help others on how to start gardening, because she said a lot of people will say, well, I don't have space to garden and this and that and the other. So she's running it down, and her video yesterday was excellent on the topic. And she said, if you don't have space to garden, get a cup. That's exactly what she said, and I agreed with her 200%, because you can actually plant seeds in a cup, you know, and whatnot. But we'll get to the gardening part later. Then my friend, Miss Renee, you've heard me mention her before if you've seen my videos. Miss Renee, Diana's Homestead, Grow Joyfully Homestead, Grandma Sandy's Homestead, and there's a lot of other ones that are smaller. Oh, my friend Growing My Own, her name is Melanie. And then we have Lisa, she's in Florida, a place for her. And there's so many more. I'm sorry, charge it to my head, not my heart, if I didn't call out your channel. But these are channels that I belong to. They all belong to my channel. And we've kind of, Easy Street with Jen. Oh, she's great. She has her garden and her homestead, and then she takes a lot of trips to food eateries there in Georgia. So you might like her too. But anyway, like I said, if I didn't mention you, it's because it just slipped my mind, you know, and everything. So charge it to my head, not my heart. And you can shout out your channel in the comments too. If I did miss you, or even if I didn't miss you at any time, I'm not one of those ones who are funny about people posting their link. Post your link right here at my channel, and it will not be deleted. It will not be struck. It's to help others. That's the purpose of what we all do. Those of us in our little small community that found me. They found me. I didn't find them. I was at some of the big channels, and that's what overwhelmed me. But they found me, and it just grew. And they started telling others about my channel, and now I'm at 264 subscribers. Well, hello, y'all, and welcome to the new ones. Someone subscribes pretty much every day. So it's growing, and I'm not looking to have a big, giant channel. You know, whatever I get, but I never would have thought I would have grown to 264 subscribers. And everybody usually stays, and you know, people are interactive, and we just have a wonderful time. We send each other seeds and stuff like that. It's been just fun. Okay, so let's get on to prepping while poor 101. Here we go. Okay, first of all, now I set this up. I set this up with how I did it, and also, or how I'm doing it. It's never over with, but how I started rather, and for it to be less overwhelming. When I started, I was watching those doomsday prepper channels. I was watching, you know, people who have 300,000 and 400,000 subscribers. Some of them I still watch, like Homestead Heart, Lead Farmer 73. I still watch them. But as far as the prepping part and what they do, I don't really, you know, watch them for that, because it can be overwhelming, especially people who have been prepping for the past 10, 20 years, even 5 years or whatever. It can be overwhelming, especially. And then there were some channels that I watched where people showed their preps, which is something you're really not supposed to do. But the point is, they did it. And then when you see all the stuff that they have, and you're thinking, it's no way I can accumulate all that and be safe and things like that. And so it overwhelmed me. And I was like, I don't even know where to start. I don't know what to do. I'm poor. I'm on a fixed income. You know, and that's why I started this channel. I decided I'm just going to start a channel where I list my introduction as being on a fixed income and not being, you know, rich. And so people who I would never respond in those videos, but other people would. They responded loud and clear. I can't afford that. Must be good. Must be nice. And I really didn't like seeing that. And I figured, you know, I'm not going to say that to anyone, because you do what you do. They're spending, you know, their money, and they're doing it the way that they do it. So I'm not going to ever try to guilt anyone on being more financially advanced than I am. And so, but I was overwhelmed. And I'm not going to lie, I did think that, dang, it must be nice, you know. But I was like, let me start a channel, and then I'm going to just do it the way I feel fit. I prayed about it, of course. And I said, I'm going to do this the best way that I can. And then I'll share. If it's successful, then I'll share it with others, you know, so that you don't have to go to those doomsday channels and those big overwhelming channels. I mean, you can still go to them and get tips and whatnot, which is what I do. I mean, the ones I mentioned, Lead Farmer and Homestead Heart, I would never unsubscribe to them, because they're telling you the God's honest truth on their channels. It's just that you pick and choose what you're going to do and what you're going to, you know, listen to, but the advice is spot on. So anyway, okay, but this is the way that I decided to do it. First of all, the first thing that happened was back during the pandemic, my sister kept telling me, I think it was for about 6 months, my sister kept saying, you need to go to social services, because they're giving out emergency EBT, which is the food stamps, okay, for people during the pandemic. And she said, you qualify. I said, Sherry, I have never qualified for anything. I've tried it before, and the most I had ever qualified for was $10 a month. And I felt that I was not going to fill out all that paperwork and give them all my business for $10 a month. So I just chose not to do it. So Sherry's like, do it. And I still didn't do it. It took me about 6 months before finally Sherry just kept on. She was like, somebody I know got them, and they make more money than me, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, let me go. I was like, okay, I'll try it. So I went online. I saw where you could apply online. I did the online thing. It took me all of maybe 15 minutes to do it. After I clicked the send button, I got a call within 30 minutes, and it was someone telling me that I qualified. And so I was fortunate. Not only did I qualify for, they gave us $252 a month on the emergency thing. Not only did I qualify, but they said, we'll back pay you. They back paid me for those, I think it wasn't the full 6 months. I think they back paid me for 3 months. And so it started me off with about $600, or actually over $700. It started me off with that. And so that's when I said, okay, now I can prep. And so I started prepping. So what I did was, the first thing I did, I went out, and actually I had done some things beforehand, because when the pandemic hit, I panicked. I started growing seeds inside. And this was the pandemic before I had even known about prepping and stuff. I went and I bought beans and rice, because I said, okay, people buying up the toilet paper and stuff, after all that's gone, which it was, they're going to start buying up all the food. So I went out and bought beans and rice and stuff like that, just willy-nilly. And so I decided, okay, let me, decide what I want to get. So what I did was I bought more beans and rice, but I got what I liked. That's one thing about prepping. You want to get the foods that you are going to eat and what you like. So I don't like regular rice, but I love Jasmine rice. So I went out and I stocked up on Jasmine rice. It had gone on sale and I bought it. Okay. Then I bought flour. I bought sugar, staples like that you know that you're going to need. So that's where I started. And I bought what I could. I think it was like maybe one of each. It might have been on sale. Then I stocked up on butter, which I'm out of now. But I was able to stock up on butter. And I bought enough for a year. And so that's where I started. And so after that, I focused on canned goods. Okay. Now, what I will say, let me start off by saying, first of all, your goal should be to start off to get a week's worth of food. Just keep it at that. Don't go any further. Don't let it overwhelm you. Just say, okay, I want to get stocked up for at least a week. So you think of what you would need for a week that is non-perishable. Now, you can get freezer stuff and bread and all that stuff you could put in the freezer, but I'm speaking of canned goods, things that if you had nothing else in your house, what you could survive off of for a week. So that's going to start you water, because you cannot survive without water, and your canned goods, your non-perishable, anything that's non-perishable. So honey is non-perishable. I talked about that the other day. It'll last forever. It's no expiration date. So you can get honey, not the store-bought, but find you a bee man somewhere and get some pure honey. Or, they sell pure honey in the store too. But you want to make sure that it's pure honey, not that store that's mess that you're used to from the store. Get the pure honey. Okay. Sugar is there's no expiration date on sugar, but you want to make sure you store your sugar in a spot where ants and bugs and stuff like that can't get to it. Tubs would be a good idea. Okay. Flour, because you need flour to cook, so start with that. Just make sure you get your staples out the way, and then you go from there and start getting your canned goods. So don't get a canned good. If you don't eat beets, or if you don't eat corn, don't go out and buy corn and beets unless you're buying for your family. Get what you like. Anything in the can. Me, I like vegetables. I don't particularly like canned green beans and canned corn and stuff, but I did buy some green beans because I said I can doctor that if need be. But the point is, I bought raviolis. I like ravioli, so I bought raviolis, stuff like that. I bought tuna fish. I'm not crazy about tuna fish, but I will eat it. If I doctor it with onions, it's pretty good. It's something I don't eat often, but I will eat tuna. I bought some sardines. I like sardines. Stuff like that. Your cheaper things, especially if it's on sale. And Kroger, they used to do 10 for 10. I don't know what they're doing now, but I know that lots of times canned goods will go on sale at your bigger grocery store. So whenever you see a sale, even if you can't afford to get but one, get an extra. That's all it takes. It's just one. if you buy a can of corn and it's on sale, get you an extra one. Okay, so then, okay, after you get your week's worth of food, then you shoot for a month. That's when you start looking at your next goal. Shoot for a month after that. So then you think about, okay, what would I need that could last a month or can, carry me a month? You're going to keep buying the same items that you were buying, and then you're going to rotate them. So the stuff that you bought first, you're going to put that at the front. The stuff that you buy last, you're going to put at the back. That's because of expiration dates. And although canned goods do have expiration dates, you can often go a little longer. You're just going to check it to make sure that there's no puncture holes, the can hasn't rusted, that type of thing. Okay. And then after a month, after you get what you feel is satisfactory to be in maybe a month's worth of food for you, shoot for a year. And then some people, they have 20 years worth of preps and all that stuff. You can do that, but your main goal is to try to shoot for a year's worth of food just in case something happened. You know that if you had to stay in your house and could not leave out, let's say a nuclear war broke out or something like that, and you can't leave your house lest you die or anything, you know that you can at least survive for a year. And by the time that year is up, something should have changed to where you can get out or do something. So shoot for a year. That should be your goal. Okay, so the next part. Okay, like I said, one prep at a time. I mentioned beans, rice, water. That's where you want to start, right there. Just start with beans, rice, and water. Beans will keep you alive and fill you up. Water will keep you alive. Okay, and then rice will fill you up. Okay, and your beans have your protein, your rice have your starches, and then your water is your water. Okay, the number 2 thing I would say to do while you're prepping is cut frivolous spending. That's going to free you up some money. My frivolous spending, Goodwill and Value World, y'all know that. Well, I cut that out for about a year or close to it. And that gave me extra money to be able to prep on things like toothpaste, soap, things that SNAP EBT cannot buy. So I did that, and then I got stocked up in that manner. And I need to, because I've been using my preps lately here, so I need to start, stocking up again. Okay, I mentioned buy one extra if it's on sale. I mentioned buy what you like. Okay, so we're getting towards the end here for the starting. 6, I mentioned growing. Grow, even if it's in a cup, like what Georgia or Gail said, Georgia Peachnut said, even if it's in a cup. And I'm going to add to that. I heard another prepper who mentioned vacant land. He said, if you see vacant land or a vacant lot somewhere, sneak there, plant you some seeds behind, weeds, trees and stuff. Mark your spot so that you'll know where it's at. That's a way, if you can't plant a garden at your house or apartment, find you a spot. People will never know that you've planted some food there because people are looking at it as a jungle. And you want to try to stay away from areas where you know that there's city grass cutting and stuff, because you don't want your stuff to get cut down. But there's places like by lakes and stuff like that where you don't even find, woods, where you don't even find people coming back there cutting and stuff. You could be back there growing some food. Okay. Another thing, behind flowers. We all like flowers, and a lot of us plant flowers. Well, flowers are great companion plants. So you can actually plant some vegetables behind your flowers, and your flowers will sabotage what you've grown vegetable food-wise, and you have some plants there, some food, vegetables. Okay? You could plant in pots, flower pots. You could plant on your deck, a deck garden. I got the greenhouse, and I've got those 3 garden tables. One is out of commission, and the second one is about to go out of commission. And then, but y'all know the animals that terrorize me. So I have the greenhouse that I bought, which was very cheap, barely $100. And you see what I've done in there. And then also, and animals cannot get in there. And then next year, I'm turning my deck because I don't even use my deck. My deck is going to be a deck garden. That's where I'm going to have my herbs. And I'm going to have those herbs covered so that the animals cannot get to anything. And then, of course, I'm going to use the tables and keep those covered. Okay, and you can also plant in house. You all know what I'm doing with my winter garden. And it is doing spectacular right now. And so if it keeps doing good and I don't mess around and kill it, I'm going to have some harvest. I've got lettuce coming. I've got arugula. I planted some turnips, some radish, some peas. I threw a broccoli in there today that was in the greenhouse that I decided to bring in and plant in there. I have an onion. You can plant anything, you know, especially your leafy greens. Okay, prioritize, and that goes with the frivolous spending. Prioritize your bills. Keep whatever's due, you know, even if you're behind, pay your minimum, you know, and keep those bills in check to where they're not threatening to cut off anything. And then whatever your budget is, after you prioritize your bills, your rent and all that, you might not have but $2 left in your pocket. Use that $2 or at least $1 of it to buy a prep. It could be anything, you know, a can of something. Okay. Utilize social services. I mentioned that. So therefore, I mentioned about social services and all that. Well, going back to the EBT, when we got the emergency EBT, like I said, that back pay that I got, that 600, I believe it was like 600 and something dollars. I used that, and I used most of it for prepping, to start my prepping. So I did get a jump on it. I'm not going to lie. But remember, they snatched that from us out of the blue. Boom. They announced after March, we're not going to be given the emergency anymore. And I thought, oh, Lord, here we go. So when that ended, they told me that I would get $23 a month from there. So I thought, okay, I'll take the $23 a month. But once it's time to renew, I'm going to tell them I'm not renewing because it really wasn't worth doing all that paperwork for $23 a month. So when the time came to renew, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go on and let this $23 stay, because when it was time to renew, what they asked for wasn't a lot, and I had all the information that they needed. So I just shot it to them. All I had to do was upload it online, and I shot it to them, and they renewed it. So I just went on and kept it going. Well, in April of last year, they sent me a notice telling me it was time to renew again. So I shot the information and stuff, and the $23 continued after I did that, because remember, I took the Eclipse trip and all that stuff. It continued from April until now, and I figured, okay, I'm not getting a raise or anything, although I sent them all this new information with the inflation and my house note going up and all that stuff, but they still kept it at 23. So I figured, you know, when it's time to renew again, that's it, you know. So they sent me my notice at the beginning of October telling me it was time to renew again. I was like, let me call this caseworker, because I'm going to let her know I'm not renewing. And in fact, I started to just not renew. I just started to let it lapse. But I was like, let me call and see what caseworker I get, and I'll let her know, you know, let's end this right now. I don't want any more $23 because I'm pretty much buying my own groceries myself. I called her and I started telling her that, and she was like, $23? I said, yeah, that's all I get. She was like, you didn't get a notice back in April? I said, no, I didn't get a notice back in April. What are you talking about? She's like, you sent in your information back in April. She was like, and you were approved for $105 a month. She was like, for a raise. I was like, no. I was like, I still get $23 a month. She was like, let me look. She looked in there and she saw that I did not, so it was a mistake on their part. I never did receive a notice, nor did I receive $105 a month. So, and I know I'm telling my business, this is TMI, but if it's going to help somebody, because you may find yourself in this exact same situation, or you may think, I don't qualify for anything or anything like that, and I'm not going to do all this. Do it. Try, because you never know where it may land you. And another thing I will say, God will bless your efforts. Whatever you are doing and trying to do, God will step in and help you. He's not going to do that if you're just sitting there. People talk about faith and things like that. And what's getting me is, and I'm veering off just for a second here because I want to say this. Yeah, I'm giving you the stink eye. But I want to say this. Everybody's so worried about this presidential election. Why? What are you afraid of? Everybody, oh, if he gets in or if she gets in or if they get in or what are you afraid of? If you are doing what you are supposed to do, God's going to step in. And the main people I'm hearing all this from are the ones who have told me time and time again, especially with my health and other challenges I face. They're the ones who say, you got to have faith. You've got to have faith. God didn't give us the spirit of fear. Now I'm saying it to you. Okay? Quit being scared and get to work because you've got to do the work. And I'm leaving it at that. Be mad? I don't care. I'm telling you the truth. Okay, now, and I'm talking to those of you who can do the work. If you can't do the work, then someone will help at some point. God will bless your efforts. Okay, so now, back to social services. So to explain why I'm telling you the story I'm telling you now. Okay, so when she told me that, she was like, I was like, wow. She was like, but you still need to bring in your paperwork. She said, and this is a big renewal because this is for 2 years and then you'll do your regular little renewal every 6 months. But this is the big one where you have to bring in everything, the big paperwork, that I wasn't going to do. And so she told me, bring in every bill, bring in everything. She was like, so that we can go over it and see what you qualify for. She was like, but I do know right now you qualify for the one part. She was like, but you may qualify for the max. The next day, she told me I could upload it, but I had too many pages to upload. So I just went to the office and they let me use the copy machine to make copies. I made the copies and turned them in that Monday because it was on a Friday when we talked 2 weeks ago. And so that Monday, I went in first thing that morning. I turned in that paperwork after I ran those copies and I left. And so I waited, over a week to get the information, whatever the decision would be or determination. And so what I started doing, because they had sent me this one letter, I forget what it was about, but I knew that they were on it and stuff. And so I was like, well, let me just check my little EBT thing because I had already spent my little 23 for the month. I was like, I'm going to just check that daily just to see, if maybe there's a determination letter or whatever. I got on there. This was last Wednesday. I got on there and it showed it was a determination letter on there letting me know what I qualify for. And then the back pay from April was on there. I was like, whoa. Okay. So that starts me back to prepping and everything else. Okay. And I'm saving a lot. Oh, believe me, it's being done wisely. I did get groceries and I got a few things that next day because I did need some groceries. But other than that, it's staying put for now until I figure out what's going to be what. I know one thing I need to get, and it's a few preps that I need to replenish. Ketchup, I need ketchup, cooking oil, and I need, ketchup, cooking oil, and it's one more that I need. And once I do that, everything is going to be saved and built up. Believe me. Okay, so that's enough of that because I've already given too much information. But if it helps somebody, then it helps somebody, okay? And God don't want me holding on. I hate when people hold on to information and don't tell you, like for instance, fishing spots and things, like that. No, you share it. It's enough for everybody. I don't have time to sit back and hold back recipes and things like that. I was raised to be a sharer, so I share. And I don't care, if people get mad because I've shared it. Hey, I'm going to help somebody if they can be helped. Sometimes that's all somebody needs is a helping hand. They need someone to just tell them what to do. things get overwhelming and your brain can lock down. Believe me, I've had that to happen. But then someone will say, well, Q, blah, 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 blah. And boom, everything just opens up and I'm a doer. Now I'm one, you tell me, give me direction, I'm going to do it. You ain't got to worry about me procrastinating and all that stuff. And so there's lots of people like that. And all they need is for someone to tell them, okay, this is how you do it, or this is an easy way to do it, or this will not overwhelm you so much, because people will stick their head in the sand and just do that. You don't have to do that. So if what I've said has helped you in any way, you don't even have to tell me. Don't even tell me if you're prepping. Don't even tell me if it's helped you. You don't have to respond or anything. I'm just putting the information out there because I know at some point it's going to help someone. Okay, now, and then we're going to end this because I have only 2 more things. Well, I already said, don't discuss, your preps. You don't have to. I'm discussing, but you don't know what I have and you don't know what I've accumulated. You don't know where it's at. Okay. The other thing I want to say, protection. Okay. You want cameras around your house if you can get that, alarm system, gun, and yes, I'm saying it. You want your protection because if something ever happens, I watched the Hurricane Katrina special on the Weather Channel on Saturday night. I had never seen that documentary that they did. And those old people, this one guy who was a Marine, he had to protect all the elderly people in his building, the retirement community, because some young people came up there and started taking their water. All they had was very little. They were trapped on the roof. And he had to come out with a gun to stop it, because of people were just being terrorized. So that will happen. Let something happen. And that was 48 hours after Katrina hit. When people get desperate, they will do what they may normally not do. So have your protection. Even if you lose your life or even if you lose, the thing is, at least you fought. So have that. Okay, your medications, first aid, that's something else that you need. So, but you're going to start with your food and your water. And then later, after you've gotten enough accumulated to where you can venture out into other areas where it's not overwhelming. And believe me, it will not be overwhelming once you know you got you a week's worth of food or at least a few days worth of food. You go feel, okay, at least I got this. It's not being touched and this is in the stash. So now, you might see some Band-Aids on sale. Well, hey, I got an extra $2. Let me go on and get these Band-Aids. That's a prep. And you put it right into your little prepping area. And you just keep building upon that. Just don't let yourself get overwhelmed. And like I said, medications, you want to have that. And we're talking not your prescriptions because they're only going to give you 30 days worth. But if you can get 90 days like I do, my doctor gives me 90 days. And lots of times I can get my prescription 4 or 5 days before it's time to get them. And that's how I've been building up on my medications. I'm saving like 5 pills. 5 pills every 3 months, but that 5 pills, and then I make sure I take those pills and then I save my newer pills. I can put 5 behind, and then that's building up on my prescriptions. And some people get even more, like my ostomy supplies. I'm building up on that. I'm prepping that. And then I was able to donate 6 months worth of supplies to the hurricane relief because I did not want my fellow ostomates wearing bread bags because that's what we're instructed to do during an emergency. And I know somebody out there needed supplies and they were probably wearing a bread bag like we're instructed to do in the event of a dire natural disaster. And I said, nope, God, you've allowed me to stock up 2 years worth of supplies. I can give up 6 months. And before I know it, I'll be built up again. And if another catastrophe hits, then I will donate again. So I have enough because they give me more than what I actually need. And I've been very fortunate with my ostomy. I don't have leaks and stuff where I need extra, and stuff like that. So since I get extra, I just keep it, I got it stocked up. Okay, and then also, so like I said, the medicine, but when I say meds, stocking up on meds, I meant first aid type deals over the counter. If you can afford to get another bottle, let's say you take a leave for headaches or Excedrin, cold medicine. If you can afford to get one more bottle, just get that. And then you're going to use that. If you get an extra, you're going to use what you have, and then you're going to keep the expiration date in mind so that if you stock on that again, you always rotate your preps. You always put your oldest preps up front and your newest preps at the back, because you want it to be as fresh as possible. And last but not least, utilize those food banks. Now, I'm not a food bank person, but y'all see me there. Why? Because in the summer, and that's the only time I utilize food banks, I don't want nothing else they giving. Believe me, those canned goods and stuff, okay? I mean, if I had to, I would. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it. Thank God for the food banks. But in the summertime, the farmers, if foods are great. You hear grade A eggs. Well, other foods are graded also. You have grade A, grade B, so on and so forth. Well, some things, if it's not grade A or whatever, it cannot be sold in stores, or it has a blemish, they have to sell it cheaper. So a lot of your farmers will donate their non-grade A items to food banks. And the one I use is Gleaners. So that's how I be getting my farmer stuff. Now this year, I didn't get anything from the farmers, so I don't know what happened. Probably, the farmers were probably selling that stuff or whatever because it's such a shortage and the recalls and stuff. But nothing came from the farmers this year. But usually, every year, I get corn, greens, you name it. Anything they've grown, they donate it, and that's what they give to us. Fruits, I did get a lot of fruits, but that was it. They usually give tomatoes, all that. So utilize your food banks, and even if you have to utilize your food banks because you don't have a lot of money, find out your local food bank and go. Hey, it's time to put the shame out the window. And everybody who's there is there for the same reason as you, to get food, okay? So go get it, okay? And then, like I said too, same thing with social services. Most of that mess can be done online. And when you go to the store now, you slide that darn EBT card right into the same slot that you would slide your Visa card. And so don't nobody even see. It ain't like how it used to be. Don't nobody know you spending food stamps or using an EBT card. And most things are self-checkout, so nobody's standing over your shoulder to begin with. Use it. Get it. You don't have to tell your business and people don't have to know, but do it. Come on. Q's doing it. Believe me. Okay, so I'm going to end this because we're at 37 minutes. I didn't mean for it to go this long, but I hope that I gave you enough information. I hope that I have helped someone, and I hope that my information isn't overwhelming. I was just trying to go kind of fast to keep it rolling. But this is how you do it. And so you can start now. You don't have to tell me that you started, but if you do want to tell me, you can share that with me privately. And if you have questions, please ask the questions. Let me know. You may want to know, okay, how do I grow this? What do I do? I'm willing to help you. In fact, I'm thinking about right here at my house, because I got some cousins who are on board with the gardening now who weren't even gardening. And so I'm thinking about hosting with us a small thing on vanilla making. I'm thinking, and so, friends, people that I know, if I do that, I will let you know. And if you're interested in coming, I'm going to open up my door and we can all do that together. And then I can teach you how to do it. Dehydrating the pepper. Next year I want to do the pepper powder where I invite my cousins over. That's why I want y'all to grow peppers, so that I can show you how to dehydrate and do the pepper powder. If you want to learn how to make butter, come on over here with your whipping cream. Somebody bring a mixer, hand mixer. I have the KitchenAid. It only takes a few minutes to do it, and you can have your own butter made, So I'm thinking of doing that, during the winter months, having my cousins and a few friends over to do that. And then I can show you how to do it. And we just do that little master class. real quick. And then y'all be on your way. Learn those skills, y'all. That's another thing. Learn some skills. There's a lot of them out there. Them homesteaders will teach you how to, will teach you some skills. I never would have been thinking I'd be making butter and vanilla and stuff like that. But here I am doing it. I know my mother would be so proud. Boy, she would be like, whoa. I hope she's looking down saying, look at this girl. All it took was for me to die, for her to get up off her butt and do some things. Because mama, she loved the garden. And then, she knew I liked the garden and stuff. And she loved that I would garden and things like that. But this other stuff, she probably like, whoa. But anyway, let me get off of here. We're at 40 minutes, so I'm going to end it here. And so may God bless you all. Please prep. Because our political climate is so bad and everything, I don't want anyone to have to suffer as a result of something that you could have done for yourself, to help yourself. And like I said, ask me any questions. Please respond if you like to, add to it if you like to, whatever, I'm here. So I will talk to you guys later, and may God bless you all. Bye-bye.